Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's Open World Dialogue. I'm super excited to bring two incredible guests to this panel to talk about owning your voice, developing a professional voice, and really navigating your career authentically. So before we do, let's go ahead and read this intro. Your voice is often what makes you, well, you. Whether you're making a career transition or you're building a portfolio, it can be hard to figure out your voice and who you are in the games industry. While it takes a lot of strength to put yourself out there, it's never easy, especially if you have imposter syndrome or some other issue blocking your success. So, how do you find your voice and build a professional brand that's authentically you? And what can you do to become more comfortable with networking in person and online with industry professionals in a practical way? Today, we are joined by two incredible guests who will walk us through their experiences and advice to help you successfully navigate the games industry personally and professionally. First up, we have Amy Allison. Amy is a 15-year veteran of the gaming industry with experience in publishing, marketing, and advocacy. Her career in gaming began running the internal video production department at a leading game publisher. She continued this work by creating a successful gaming vertical for a Hollywood trailer agency and later co-founded a family-run boutique agency. Years later, she joined the VR gaming ecosystem as an early business leader in the location-based entertainment VR sector. She is currently the director of marketing for a top-selling VR development studio in Los Angeles, California. She also serves as the programs and events chair on the board of directors for who? Women in Games International, and is a proud judge for the Games for Change VR category. And last but not least, we have Nadine Bardas. Nadine is an experienced entrepreneur who ran startups in the legal and educational spaces for 15 years. She's been in esports, for over 2 years and is currently the co-owner and head of esports at Core Gaming. Nadine started in esports recreationally in 2017 when she realized that she can feed her competitive nature without physically touching a game, which is amazing. She then took her experience in startups and worked with some amazing people and built the Core Gaming brand from the ground up. So welcome to both of you. I'm super excited to talk to you both about this. As I told you all before we were live, and I'm telling people who are watching this, honestly, I created this panel way before I thought about this, but I want to become somebody in the gaming industry who can represent people from all backgrounds, but also create a vertical of journalism that highlights these things in the industry in a way that we don't see in other spaces that I will not name. Now, part of that issue is that I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Does anyone know what they're doing?
I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I am very afraid of doing it. I'm not afraid of failure, so that's a good hump. I have no choice but to succeed at it, so I can't feel that I'm gonna fail, but I don't know how to get the voice to be confident and make this happen. So this is a great panel to talk about this, and I'm sure that there are other people who are struggling with this as well. Though there are many answers to these questions that we're going to go over, I can't wait to dive deep into this and understand both of your perspectives on how we all can navigate this strange world that we are in the games industry. So let's start with the first question. What does finding your professional voice mean to you? And why is it important for people to develop their professional voice in their career journey? And anybody can start.
You sent a lovely list of questions, and this one was the one that I probably had the least to say about.
Ooh.
But because there are other things I was like, oh yeah, this is a little bit more. And for me, a challenge is I'm a very strong personality. So I felt early in my career I didn't have the chance to really be authentic with my voice because I just wanted to be in. And I was like, whatever I have to do to be in, that's who I will be. And now as 18 years later, I finally feel like I can be a little bit more like myself. And I think that what helps me come to terms with bringing my authentic self to work is to be honest with the strengths that I have and the places where I need a little bit more help, and bringing that and being very honest with the people that I work with. I think bringing my professional voice in my career journey is just being like always inquisitive about myself, not just myself here, but myself with this organization and myself with my job and myself as a parent. And there's all these different types of me that are all interacting, and just to make sure that I feel like I'm the same person across all of them, so I am authentic. And sometimes at work I feel like I can't be my silly self, and that bothers me, and then maybe that's not a good match for me. But luckily I'm at a place where I do feel like I can be myself. For me, it's just about always being inquisitive and just being honest with yourself about what you're good at and what areas of improvement that you have.
I feel the same way. It's just learning to be authentic and who you are authentically, and learning what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and just navigating it day by day through it all.
And before I got your questions today, I was like looking at being your authentic self at work, and it described it a little differently. It was about like doing what you say you're going to do and being honest and all those things. And I feel like those are commitments that not only you should keep to your job, but to yourself. Like you're saying, like, I want to get in this industry, not just being honest with your job about what's going on with your personality there, but with yourself.
I think that's super hard. I'm going to be honest. To be your authentic self and I guess stand up for your beliefs, but also being okay with melding your personality with wherever place you're in is super difficult. It's still difficult for me. I don't feel, granted, the wiki's different. So Women in Games International is different. I can be myself here, but in other spaces, I'm always struggling to figure out, when will this end? When will this strangeness of me not being myself end? Is it when I'm older? Is it, I'm not going to use the word that I was going to curse, and I don't want to use the F word on here. So that one I won't use. But I'm at a point where I'm like, gosh, I'm just tired of feeling this way. And I know it doesn't always end, but I know y'all don't know the answer to this, but I'm just like, when does this end?
It doesn't end. Yeah. It gets easier. It gets easier, but it doesn't.
Yeah, and it doesn't end. And if it doesn't end, I think that's actually a good thing, because you're constantly growing, right? If you don't look at yourself 3 years ago and cringe a little bit, that means you haven't grown at all. So like the frustration that you're feeling today is probably another frustration you're going to feel in 10 years, because you're just always looking to grow and figure yourself out. I hate to tell you that it's never going to go away, but then I also think that it's a good thing that it never goes away, because otherwise it just means that you've lost your passion for finding your happiness.
That's fair. It's a struggle. I was waiting for you to say, yeah, this is exactly when it ends. You hit 40 and then it's done. It's over. No. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Totally fine. As professionals who've already found their voice, what advice would you give to those looking to build and strengthen their own voice when applying for positions? Now, the reason why I think this question is super important is that we were already talking about the imposter syndrome and not knowing who you are never ends. But I find in particular, as somebody who used to work in career services, both in educational spaces and in private spaces, that no one knows who they are when they're writing, because they're up against a description that's telling you need one thing and you know you have it, but or maybe you don't, or you don't know how to navigate, how to like talk about yourself in a way that represents who you are in the best light. I always think questions like this are super important for people. So what advice would you give people who are applying for things, whether it's esports or just the larger gaming industry?
I guess I'll start. I think it really just takes practice. You just have to put yourself out there in different situations and just practice. It just takes a lot of practice, and things do get easier. And when you're applying for positions, it's just being open to sharing your authenticity and your thoughts and your ideas. You just got to take it day by day. There's no magic. To it besides just doing the hard things.
Yeah. And So I agree. Taking it day by day is awesome. However, I'm an elder and I have children. And the thing that frustrates me about this specific industry is there is a desperation when you work in this industry to be employed. It is so difficult, especially in America where your health insurance is tied to your job, right? And so sometimes I feel in this specific industry, people are more willing to give part of themselves up in order to just get in. And I was guilty of that in a lot of ways. But I've been in the industry for 18 years and I've been volunteering with Wiggy for 15 years. And it wasn't until I started working with Wiggy that so many more doors opened up for me. A lot of my success is saying yes to every opportunity that has come my way, whether it's a volunteer thing or not. Will you come judge at this thing? Absolutely. Will you come speak to our high school on career day? Absolutely. Will you work the door at the party? Absolutely. And the reason I do that is because I want to see what works for me. And then you meet different people at all those different things, and then you learn about what they do. And then you can reflect on yourself about, who am I? Do I want to be like that person? Am I like that person? What makes me different from that person? How can we complement each other? So it's just like an always evolving situation with your personality. But one thing I wish I could tell myself, if I could go back in time, is that it is okay if everybody doesn't like you. My particular personality craves the people like me a lot. And sometimes I feel like you'll bend yourself, but I don't really necessarily do that anymore. And I think that just comes with time and maturity. But early in my career, it was difficult for me to be like, why didn't they pick me? Like, why didn't I get that job? And it would just affect my self-worth. But now that I'm older and I'm on the hiring side of things, I've realized that it's not about your personal worth and what you bring to the interview. It's genuinely about the team, what's missing on that team and what they're trying to replace on that team. So while you might have been an awesome person, you just didn't have the things that were going to complement the other people on the team like we needed. So it has nothing to do with you. It really was about the position. And I just wish I had known that just because I didn't get a job, it probably wasn't because they didn't like me or I didn't have the skill set, but it just wasn't the right match. So sometimes I worry that people will, like how the evil stepsisters in Cinderella will try to shove their foot in a slipper that's just not fitting for them, to try to avoid that as much as possible. But I also want to be very realistic that you need to be employed in America for health insurance and to take care of your family, pay your bills. It's difficult. Try to be as authentic as you can, but understand and give yourself kindness if you feel like you have to be a little bit more of I don't know what you would call it, like a transformer in certain situations, or a code switch, because you might have to do that a little bit until you get in there, you know?
I think, one, you brought up putting your foot in a slipper that doesn't fit, and I'm like, oh, that's me. That's me. I find myself, first of all, I have problems with overextending myself, but that's technically, that could be a part of this, but that's not a part of this conversation. But I overextend myself constantly because I need to be employed. I have to be full time, but I also want to do this gaming thing, and it's a struggle. So there's that. To go back to the actual answers that you both gave, I want to combine them together because I think it's so important, simply because let me just tell you, not in the gaming industry, but I have applied for nearly over 300 jobs. I have grown a thick skin. And Nadine's advice for simply taking it day by day is one of the hardest things you could do. But I swear, if you get that down and you know how to just relax and just take a step back, like I've applied for as many jobs as I can. I interviewed the best that I can. I've done everything that I can do, and you relax, I swear the process will be a lot better. I know it's urgent, you need to get paid, obviously, but doing that is super helpful. And then Amy, you just talking about sometimes you got to understand you just weren't the person that they needed is also super hard to do. That is one of the hardest things I've had to learn, and it still hurts, even when I get denied by stuff. Having the people out there, obviously, and then obviously me too, realize that it's not your fault. You did the best you could, and there will be other opportunities that come along, or you can make your own.
And just keep showing up. Just like Nadine said, just keep showing up. Take it one day at a time and just If you're there the next day, you've made a great move forward.
And network with people, but that's probably somewhere in here. But do that too. Me too.
Always,
network with me too, people. Like, I'm here. Like, I want to do stuff, and you probably want to do stuff too. All right. This next question is super important, simply because more and more, or at least in the gaming industry, you want to have a portfolio and you want to pay attention to social media. I am in a completely different industry. However, social media came up and they found my stuff and it was bad. So we need to talk about this. So social media and online platforms have become increasingly important for professionals to showcase their skills and expertise. What strategies would you recommend for people to, one, effectively communicate and establish a solid presence online? And two, are there any pitfalls that we should be aware of when sharing our voices and opinions online? That second one is the one I really need to.
Yep. Sports is all online. Majority is all online. Building that social presence is pretty important. It becomes a first impression. It almost becomes like your resume before your resume and your interview before your interview. So it's pretty important to take a look at that bio and what's the last 10 tweets you posted? What's the last post you posted? And just remember that those things are a reflection of who you are, because in this industry, a lot is online. And so that's where we'll go first as being the interviewer. I haven't been an interviewee in a while, but being the interviewer, that's pretty much the first footed. That, and also how you contact an interviewer or an organization. So if it's by email or just a DM, that's also a first impression. So to keep that in mind as well. It's big in the esports gaming industry. The online presence is pretty big.
Yeah. What is that expression, like, never write something on social media that you wouldn't want written or read in a deposition one day in court? Never put anything out that you would not want read in court at some point. You know what I mean? And
that's good advice.
Yeah, and they send these things home with my daughters when they give them online literacy lessons. And one of the ones was so impactful, like I even have it up on my thing. It says think, THINK. Whatever you're posting, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And if you hit all 5 of those things whenever you post something on social media, you're never going to be embarrassed about what is out there. So I always think before I post. And the other things that I wrote down about these specific questions was, if you're just posting all the time on social media and you're reposting everything, people are just going to think, oh, she's just into everything. But for me, if you go back and look at my stuff, like I'm always posting about like Women in Games International or cool ways that video game tech is being used in like social experiments or something. If you follow me, you know the things that I'm interested in, right? It's not like literally everything across, oh, this company bought this company today. But I follow people that talk about that stuff because they're like executives. And I'm like, that's not really my thing. But if I needed an expert in that area, that's who I would go to, because that's who I follow and that's what I see that they post about. So I would say, if you're honest and helpful, and then you really do like curate in a way, like what type of messages you spread, that's going to allow people to see you in a certain light. Another thing, again, if I could go back and talk to my younger self, is that you don't have to be on every platform. Oh my God. But when I started, everyone was like, what do you mean you're not on Twitter? I was like, because Twitter's too much for me. But like people would talk to me like I was crazy, or what do you mean you don't have an Xbox ID? I'm like, I'm a PlayStation player. And I always felt like I had to justify myself. So I don't do Twitter. People think that's crazy, but I'm like, I'm more of a LinkedIn person because I'm very into like my career and helping other people's careers. And I'm on Facebook because I'm over 40 and I work in VR, and Meta's a big like headset like person, so I have to be on Facebook. And Instagram, I just like to take silly pictures, and that's where I do my fun little stuff. And those are my 3. And then of course now I have to do Discord all the time because of my job, and that's good too because that helps me grow, because I didn't grow up doing Discord because I was never a PC player. And should Discord become like a huge part of my life, maybe I'll have to let Facebook go. I don't know, but don't feel like you have to be everywhere. Don't share everything all the time. Only share what you're passionate about, and then just think before you post. Those are my tidbits.
I think that's amazing. And one of the hardest things for me is actually just trying to build a social media profile, like presence, I should say. I am on Twitter, for example, but I'm only there because I'm a journalist. But I don't post anything. Like, I don't do anything there. Nothing. Like, I get tagged.
You just watch and read. You don't reshare anything.
Well, because
and that's okay.
For me, I'm like, I'm not trying to say anything for anybody to dox me, harass me, come get in my DM. Like, none of that. I don't want any of it in my life. But I feel like if you are trying to build a brand, whatever platform you're using, you probably need to spend a little bit of time talking and networking and curating these things. It's just very hard for me to want to do that. I'm now getting used to it. Like LinkedIn, I can do. I feel comfortable with LinkedIn because we all need to be professional on that site. But Twitter or Instagram or anywhere else is just scary. For me, I'm like, I can't do it. Good luck, everybody else. And also those of you out there who are trying to curate stuff, please do use these things. But I can't do it yet. Maybe.
It also doesn't help that you cannot edit on Twitter.
Yeah.
Who knows? Alon might change that tomorrow. We never know.
Right. So you just have to be open to, hey, you post something, you look at it, maybe that's not really me, or I'm not really feeling that. Just delete. Don't be afraid to delete.
That's the best advice. Delete. Yeah.
Delete and repeat. That's
perfect. All right, now we're going to go to this question that I'm like, I don't really know how you can do this because there's so many different aspects to building a portfolio, but I do think it's important to talk about. So, building a portfolio is often an important aspect of showcasing your professional voice and expertise. What advice would you give individuals who are looking to create a strong portfolio that effectively communicates their unique perspectives and skills? And are there any specific elements or examples that they should include? I'm particularly interested in esports here because how the hell do you build a portfolio online for esports?
Yeah, I'm interested in that too, Nadine. How do you do that?
because I'm like with game design or art or even writing, like that makes sense. But esports, I'm like, what do you do? Is it just VODs? Is it what? I don't know.
Yeah, so it depends what you're looking at. If you're looking at a professional player or a content creator, usually what I like to see is growth. A lot of that comes with them posting their accomplishments and things like that is important, and how they're telling their story. What I really like to see is lessons learned. So I think that's huge because it shows that they're authentic, and it also shows that they are growing. And there's room for growth there. There's room for growth there. And I think any esports professional will tell you that it's important to have a team of people that are coachable and that really soak that stuff in, and you can grow together. That's my take on that.
Totally fine.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see, how did I answer this question? Like for writers, or like what Nadine was saying, if you can show this is where I was here and this is where I am now. For example, like if I was giving you tips about writing, it was like, hey, this was my first draft of the article. And then when I went to the publisher and they were like, hey, can you skew it more this way? This is how I incorporated feedback to show how do you incorporate feedback? A side by side is really helpful. Who knows that you're going to get that tell us a little bit about yourself question in an interview. Have a dumb little presentation together to be like, yeah, I know I'm gonna get this question, because then you can show pictures of yourself and be like, yeah, hi, like this is me and this is what I do, and like here's a time that I failed and I learned something awesome, or find something that they're looking for specifically in that job description. Oh, we're looking for people who do blah blah blah, and like have a slide to be like, oh, and here's an example of a time I did that thing that you're looking for, and all that good stuff. So even if it's not a portfolio, because I'm not an artist, like I could pull up like some social media stats, but I don't even know that either. So like, it's really just about, this is who I am, this is how I grow, these are examples of my work, this is an example of my work where I did this part, and being very honest about what you do. Because like an end project has 30 people on it, but if you can specify what specifically you did, but if you're trying to call out something that they're looking for, be like, but I worked with a person who did what you're looking for, and these are the things that I've learned from them in order to be able to do that skill. So whatever it is, to be able to show them that you have a link to what they're looking for if you don't have that 100% exact thing that they've done before. I feel like a portfolio is a good chance for you to prove your opportunities where you've grown, like Nadine said, or this is how I incorporate feedback from people. Basically a way to show your skills rather than just your work and your like mental state / self-inquisitive nature, like how I grow. I just feel like employers look for that more now than just this is how I draw ogres. This is how I did that environment. You know what I mean? Because people just need you to be flexible and be able to work as a team. And I feel like those are the skills that are harder to prove to people. So if you have some slides in your portfolio that kind of talk about that, it's very helpful.
So I have 2 questions with the portfolio. The first one I feel as if I know the answer, but should people be putting every single thing that they've done in their portfolio if they think it's their best work?
Yes, and then tailor it when you talk to people. You should have a slide for everything that you do, and then depending on your audience, pick and choose what's appropriate.
That was not the answer I was expecting. And I appreciate that, because for me, the way I was taught, you put just a little bit of the things that you've done that you think are super important and then leave it at that. But I'm like, but then that ignores everything else that you're doing. And then I guess my other question with that, is it okay to show things that are not gaming related but transferable in that portfolio?
I think so. Nadine, what do you think?
Yep, I think so too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because there's a lot, especially for DEI, right? If we want to get more variety of types of people who work in our industry, we're going to need to find people that have transferable skills, not just the exact skills, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a challenge for people who do want to make that crossover is trying to find a way to explain to people how their skills will transfer over. Let's go back and forth. Okay, so that's how I feel about it.
Okay, now we're on to interviewing, which is probably by far the hardest part for people, or at least that would be my understanding, because you're nervous. You may have studied and prepared, but you don't know what to expect. You don't know what questions they're going to ask you. You don't know if it's going to throw you for a loop if they ask you something random. Like you're afraid. Interviewing is another important aspect of building your professional voice and establishing your career. What tips or strategies would you recommend for individuals to effectively communicate their strengths and professional voice during an interview? Are there any common mistakes or misconceptions that individuals should be aware of when preparing for an interview? I feel like I have tons of answers to this, but I am not the person being interviewed, so I'll just throw it to one of you.
Nadine sounds like she interviews a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's important for someone going into an interview to just really truly believe that what they have to say is important. If I'm interviewing someone, I'm interested in talking to you more. I'm interested in knowing more about you. I want to hear what you have to say. So I think it's important when you are the interviewee, that you believe, hey, I have something important to say, and this person really wants to hear what I have to say. So going in it with that confidence is really good. And because it's a lot of online stuff for me, I think the best advice that I have is to treat that first interaction as the start of your interview. So if you sent a DM or you sent an email, that's the first step. You don't know who's reading that email, but in for instance, my type of organization is very small, so a little bit of us do a whole lot. So you just be mindful of that when you do the first contact, and know that because I've reached out to you, I want to know more. I'm interested. And that interviewer, probably not just me, but any interviewer is interested in hearing what you have to say.
I have a quick question, because it sounds like you brought up DMs twice, so somebody must have did something wrong.
Okay, let's get the tea.
Somebody did something wrong here. But I would love to know then, what's the worst thing that someone could do, in your opinion, in esports, whether it's your business or just in general, what's the one thing that just literally X you out of being considered for a position?
I think getting the initial DM that just says, yo, you're kind of okay.
Okay.
Yo, back.
Okay.
Wow.
And where maybe I then have to fish. Okay, hey, how are you? Or then I have to fish for what's going on here. I really appreciate the DMs that are just honest, and they're just like, hey, my name is this and I'm interested in this, and is there a way that we can chat and talk about this? I appreciate those a lot more.
But don't say yo. I don't
Don't
know.
say yo.
Whoa. Like I feel like maybe it's because I'm older. I'm just like, that is, oh, don't do that. That's
And
the
in-
worst
it-
thing.
it-
I wonder
And in
generational
esports,
thing.
yes, in
You think?
esports, I'm ancient. In esports, I am ancient.
Oh yeah, we're
so,
all
yeah,
like, me
it's
and you, girl,
definitely
we're
a
like
generational
super ancient
thing.
in this industry for sure. Yeah. 40s,
But-
oh my god, we should be walking around with canes, right?
Oh,
I
say
know.
that.
And I feel that way all the time.
It's weird to me that there's no media literacy happening there, where they don't know to treat this like a business. I'm more shocked maybe than both of you, because I don't interact with people like that enough for me to experience that. But that's insane. And yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. As far as interviewing goes with me, I will really put not a lot of onus on the other person interviewing me, but I'll be like, that first interview, if they're like, okay, we're going to pass them to the next round and these are the two people who are going to interview next, I'll ask them a few questions about those people before I go in. Okay, so I'm going to meet with this person. Tell me what kind of things they value with their employees, or what kind of personality do they have? Are they going to appreciate like a very like factual answer, or are they going to want to learn more about this or blah blah blah? So I'll get some information soon. And you can also ask, hey, I know the interview's coming up, can you tell me some questions that I might be expecting, so you can pre-prepare, because they'll tell you. So I think that's a really helpful tip with interviewing, is to help you feel a little bit more confident, to be like, at least I know 3 of the questions they're going to ask, so I can be super prepared for those 3. So yeah, so I ask about the questions that I'm going to be asked, and I asked about the people that I'll be speaking with, so I have some sort of like context about like their emotional intelligence, like what are they looking for, what am I looking for, like how do I speak to this person the best. So those are my tips in bringing your most authentic self to an interview.
Taking that, because those are questions that I've never used before. Honestly, I've never thought of saying, hey, what are the questions? Like, what are we going to talk about? Because maybe it's obviously, it must be archaic. I was just taught, you don't do that, because if you do that, then it's going to make it look like you're not prepared and you don't know what you're talking about and you're over eager in that way. So just wait until you meet these people, and then you do exactly what I usually do, which is freak out until you get to the actual interview. So that's super helpful. Are there any things that would make you say no to a person, similar in a similar way to like the DM? Is there anything where it's like, this is not the person? Not that you have to have an answer, by the way. If you don't, that's totally fine.
In this industry, I feel like everybody who gets to the interview is very passionate and knowledgeable for them to get that far, and those are the things that would probably be big turnoffs for me.
Bye. Now we are in the aspect of in industry norms. I want to know, how can professionals navigate situations where their voice may be in conflict with their employer or industry norms? Are there strategies for effectively communicating dissenting opinions or alternative perspectives while maintaining relationships and advancing your career? Which is very tough. I'm going to be honest. I have yet to figure this out. I am the type of person, maybe unfortunately, I butt heads with almost everybody because I don't like authority. Though I do respect when you're correct. It takes me a minute to get there, because I'm like, I think you stupid. I don't think you know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. And then in hindsight, I take a step back and I'm like, oh, okay. I don't say these things. However, it is very clear, at least for me, because I am aware of me, that there's friction in my behavior. So are there just like tips and tricks to still be you, right? But you are not jeopardizing your relationships with employers A nice change of scenery and beautiful lights.
Now I'm in my teen's room. She has a very cute bedroom.
I feel like you kind of just said it there, just listening and asking questions. You're going to start to feel like, oh, I feel a conflict coming on here because you don't agree. And there's always going to be people you disagree with, and there's always going to be conflict, and that's okay. It's okay to disagree and have conflicts. And usually I try my hardest. I try my hardest to not argue my side and just ask questions to try to understand where the conflict is coming from. And there's always going to be conflict.
That's, oh my gosh. Once you said don't argue your side, I'm like, oh.
It takes practice. It's really hard, and it takes practice.
Yeah. But if it's something worth fighting for, I'm sure that Nadine would. Like, if it was something that was important, but like just coming and arguing. Do you guys know those little birds that like come in crocodiles' teeth and they like clean out?
Yes.
It's like a copacetic relationship between the two. So the crocodile doesn't eat the bird and the bird gets the meat, and then it helps the crocodile from getting like rotten teeth and all that good stuff. I feel like when you run into somebody at a company where there is friction like that, you just find a way to work independently but on the same goal, and then just try to set up that structure with that particular person if it's like a particular person. Another thing for me that I've had to do some growth on in the last year, it's like a freewheeling kind of silly lady, but now I'm a part of a big like corporate organization. And so I've had to really work at elevating my language, right? To be inclusive of everybody. Like sometimes like I realize, oh yeah, like I'm old school that way. I need to get better, right? So that's a culture class I've had recently, is with my like big corporate like company. It's, oh, I guess I really do. I'm not going to become a corporate person, but I need to be able to carry myself in that manner when I am at work, even though I'm a silly Billy at home and will yuck it up with you elsewhere. So I think in some ways you do have to adapt to the company. And then when you find those one particular like knocking head situation, just figure out how you can work independently but for the same goal. Because I always feel like there's a workaround here, unless the entire corporate culture is really not fitting for you, and then maybe it's time for you to go.
I think I say this sometimes when I'm doing these panels, but I feel like this one is like the one that's making me stretch my brain the most, because I'm like, every time either you are saying things like, oh my God, these are things that I don't do, or I know I can do them, but I don't want to. Like elevating my language, for example. Oh, that makes complete sense. And now I'm like, how the hell do you do that? So now I have to go figure that out.
Right. Well, example with me is I'm terrible about meeting people and getting overly excited. I'm like a golden retriever that way. I'm like, yeah. And then I'm also like 40 plus. I'm like 45 plus actually. So pronouns, I get really overly excited and I misuse pronouns all the time. And it's heartbreaking for me if I hurt someone's feelings, because I have literally worked in diversity for all genders for years. So obviously I'm not doing it in a mouse way. She's letting the dog in. Right, quick dog moment. Hello.
Oh, that's cute.
She's a puppy, and I guess she was whining on the other side of the door. But like practice is never going to make, they used to say like practice makes perfect, but practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. You know what I mean? So that's a way that I've had to learn to really elevate my language. It takes practice. And when you're in a larger company and organization, you just have to be so mindful, because you're dealing with so many people, especially with community, which I also oversee. And so you do need to evolve yourself that way as well, even if something that you're doing isn't intentional, which obviously mine wasn't, but it was something I needed to practice at and get better at to make everybody in the organization feel as comfortable as possible.
I think that's totally fair. So basically don't stop learning.
Never.
Don't stop learning. And fortunately, I like doing that. But everything else, I'm like, learning to hold back your emotions and or not saying something before you really think and cool off. That one, I'm going to definitely need like some work on.
I have impulse problems. I have really bad impulse problems to like say a joke that's probably out at the moment. And I've had to work on that.
I'm the same. I'll throw a corny joke out there. I'm like, oh, this didn't land. No, let's move on. This is terrible. But hey, that's me. You can take some parts of me and hopefully people will love it. Anyway, How can professionals continue to evolve and grow their professional voices throughout their career? So, really, are there any habits or practices? I already basically said one, right? Keep learning. But are there habits or practices that can help individuals stay open to new perspectives and continuously improve their communication and leadership skills? I already said practice, but I would love if you both could talk about networking in this and how going into different spaces, whether it's the larger gaming industry or it's esports, that you're constantly learning and being around other people who are doing cool things that then inform how you think about yourself and your place in your career. Or answer however you want to. That's fine too.
I feel like I've done so much talking, Nadine. I'm so sorry. I'm like,
no, that's okay. I think we complement each other. No, that's good. I think I wrote down some advice, and I think where I was going with this advice was to do the things that make you anxious and uncertain. You're not sure about them. There's a lot of uncertainty there, and it makes you anxious. And just practice doing those over and over and over.
Put yourself in an uncomfortable position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to make yourself uncomfortable.
No.
Or just not run from it when it comes up. Like the first step is to just not run from it when it comes up, and then hopefully you can be an awesome and courageous as Nadine, as she is, to just go in and look for it, which a lot of people will not do. I agree. You can't grow unless you put yourself
exactly.
in
I will agree with that, but then also I'm just like, oh my gosh, because for example, with this, when I first was hired here for Wiggy, I didn't do panels. I actually wasn't even streaming. I wasn't doing anything. I've done panels before with my work, but it was very different from this. Now I feel very comfortable, but I ran towards it. I'm like, fine, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this work. I know I can do this. And look at me now. But when it comes to this higher level type stuff or things that seem out of reach, I feel like running towards that is so difficult to do simply because you don't know where to run to. For example, thinking about creating my nonprofit, I'm like, there are so many components, and now my brain is, and I'm very much a scatterbrain. That's just who I am. Oh, I could do this. I can do this. I can go here. I can go here. That's a very difficult thing to do, is to run to the things that you don't know and then make it work. So
for me, when I have a large, scary thing ahead of me, I break it down into smaller pieces. And that's how I tell people, when you're looking for a job, find your dream job and then go and look at that job description. And then look at all the stuff, that you're missing. Find the opportunities that will give you like, for example, like we need somebody who can do budgets, blah, 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 blah. I hadn't had a lot of experience doing budgets. So I was like, I'm going to go and find a nonprofit that will let me help run an organization where I will get to learn that one particular bit. So when you break it down into like small little bits, it's a lot more manageable rather than one huge daunting task. But I also believe that with the daunting tasks, just saying yes to opportunities, even if you don't think, oh, that could be for me, or that could be for me, or maybe, but like, you never know till you try. Like I did a different job every summer in college because I wanted to try different things. Like I never was like, oh, I'm just going to go back and wait tables again this summer. Like I was like, no, this summer I'm going to be a camp counselor. That summer I'm going to wait tables. This summer I'm going to do an internship. Just because I almost feel like it's dating, right? You don't know what you want until you figure out what you don't want. When things are daunting,
that too.
Yeah. That's just how that's how I tackle it, but it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I'm taking all of that, especially the what are your gaps, and then go look at the job that you want and then go fill in those gaps. I think that's super important, and one, honestly, I haven't done in so long that
I feel like actionable feedback is very important. Like people can be like, oh, just stay true to your dreams. But like, how do you stay true to your dreams? And how do you actually make that like an actionable goal to get there? I'm glad that you're finding that helpful. Oh my God, I do not want to make that sound like in my mouth. So
you are being attacked live.
Always, but with love. I'm being attacked with love, so I can take that.
Okay, so we have 2 more questions, but we are basically at the end. So rather than going into the second to last question, we're going to go right into the last one. So In what ways can finding and developing your voice contribute to a greater sense of fulfillment and purpose in your career? Are there any personal experiences or examples you could share of finding your voice, how finding your voice has positively impacted your personal and professional life? And again, I turn to Wiggy, if I'm being honest. Up until this point, of coming on to Wiggy, I was writing about esports. I was writing about video games. I was doing all of these things where I'm like, I don't think I want to stay permanently in the field of writing articles all day long. I want to do something different. I want to grow. I want to expand. And then joining Wiggy and then learning about the processes and how there are programs to support pretty much anybody who isn't a straight white male, though they need some support too now and then, every now and then. But we're supporting everybody but them in these ways to push forth the industry. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am so fulfilled being here. Like this is, and I got to tell you, like I'm a type of person who will leave a job in a year. I've made a year here and I'm like, I love it. There's no reason for me to ever want to leave this place unless, someone kicked me out. Somebody want to do that. I get it. But I love this place. So for me, I can always turn to this and see that this is a non-toxic, supportive place that represents everything that I believe in with gaming and representation. To you all, are there experiences or examples that have positively impacted who you are and your voice in this industry, or at least solidified it?
That was a tough one for me because I was really trying to find and pinpoint like one exact moment that I could share, and I just couldn't come up with it.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I just couldn't come up with one moment, except that I did have some time to think about what it felt like being a young professional, just coming into my space in my career and having that feeling where I have this idea or I have this suggestion, but too fearful to say it or to voice it or to talk about it. And I think that it really comes down to just that we all want to be heard and validated. So I think that's where we begin to be fulfilled in whatever it is we're doing, is that our voices have an impact. And for me, that's when you talk about fulfillment, that's where I feel fulfilled.
Before the talk today, we were chatting and I was telling you I was going through a midlife crisis all the time. Like I've gone through so many midlife crises, I can't even believe it. Because I'm like, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do I want to do in the games industry? Blah, blah, blah. And my answer is also going to be Wiggy. Because I was just recently a mentor in a program that we did, because as I oversee programs and events, and that's exactly what I've done for Wiggy for years. I've always planning programs, getting people involved, and I don't just do it for other people, I also do it for myself. And in this most recent one, we did our Clifton Strengths with Mike Knox, a career coach, and I just had my first session with him the other day, and it was a very open. In some ways, I was disappointed by my strengths when I figured out what they were. But I was looking for some sort of awesome revelation, but I was like, no, I know that these are the things that are good for me. But it wasn't until I sat down to talk with somebody about this is why. And maybe if you're not using these best skills at your job, figure out a way that they can best utilize you. Because if I understand myself and how I work, then I can go to my boss, who is awesome. And he's so respectful and works with me because like it's his responsibility to get the most out of my supervisor. So I'm just always looking at myself to be like, how can I make this better? Why do I feel tired when I do this one thing? But like I can do this thing 12 hours a day and never get tired. And how can I work with my job to make sure that I do more of the things that I'm like awesome at and less of the things that maybe I'm not so great at? And we can find somebody who could augment that skill set for me, which is what I was telling about. Like when you're building out a team, it may not be that you're like the best person, but you just might not be the right person for the team. And another thing that I feel very strongly about making my voice is as a supervisor, make sure that I'm doing all the things for my team that I would want done for me. And I feel like my voice is more than just about what I've done, but about how the people who I've worked with have grown. So I take that as a big part of my voice and representation in the industry, just as much as what I do, or the people I've touched and helped.
I absolutely love that, because I'm just thinking about, you know what, I have no idea how you build a professional voice as a supervisor of people and treat them with the respect that you want, but then also getting, because I've never been in that position, and but you're also trying to get the best out of them. That's a whole nother conversation.
In my references, I always have somebody who has worked for me as a reference, because I think that it's not only important to hear from people who have been my supervisors, but also people who've worked for me, because I value their voice. So I think she said it earlier, just value what other people say and value their experience as much as your own. And that just expands your voice.
And then a quick aside, Amy, I feel like we're similar, because you're saying, what do you want to be when you grow up for the gaming industry? I'm like, I could do this. I could do that.
Every time I learn about a new job, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could do that.
Yeah, that's a problem with me.
It's that golden retriever in me. I'm just like, this is so exciting.
Yeah.
Rein it in.
I'm like,
I think I get that part fulfilled, because like I mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of us that do a whole lot. As being the head of that part of the organization, I have to learn to do everything. And I think it's very fulfilling. It's fulfilling to know that I can do everything if I need to.
Oh man, that might feed a bad desire in me, because I'll literally try to do everything. That's why I'm tired. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this. But anyway, I want to thank you all for watching this. I really appreciate it. On behalf of Wiggy, we hope you enjoyed this panel about defining your professional brand and developing your career in an authentic way that makes you proud of yourself and what you can accomplish in this industry. This is Open World Dialogue. I'm Robin, signing off. Bye and happy gaming.